I want to welcome the GMs and the wives, the godly men and the warm, inviting, feminine, empathetic women out there. So, women want almost everything from a man nowadays, except genuine love and care. And the women that are going to be triggered by this are probably going to be the ones that I'm talking about. And the women that are not triggered by this are probably going to be the ones that are nodding their head in silence, understanding the gravity and the pure density that really goes into what words I'm going to be speaking throughout this video. And there are going to be very many men that really resonate with this video, I think, because many men have this feeling of powerlessness in the modern dating society that we live in. And it's turned a lot of good men hearts. It's turned their hearts cold. And it's almost like there are a lot of good men that have the capacity to be great men, but because of the way that they've been treated, they don't see the value in being that great man because they're seeing how they're treated. And it's like, well, if I'm just going to be unappreciated and if I'm going to be disrespected simply because of who I am and what I am, and if I'm going to be persecuted for just based off of how I'm going to operate, and meanwhile, I'm also supposed to protect you and I'm also supposed to provide for you, like, you guys can go screw yourselves. That's the mentality that a lot of these men have. And I'm not blaming necessarily men. I'm not necessarily blaming women. I'm just talking about what's actually going on and why this kind of stuff needs to be talked about, because most men understand that they need to know how to attract women, and they want to know how to attract women. But a lot of women really don't know or even care to understand what it takes to actually attract and keep a man that knows his worth, let's say. A man that is self-assured, a man that has resources, a man that has the ability to protect and provide. These kinds of men want certain things, and a lot of young women have no clue how to behave. Like they've never seen a real man standing before them like yourself, man watching this. They've never seen a man like yourself watching this. So they're not going to really know what to do. And is it your job to teach them? Not necessarily, but you do have to instruct and set boundaries on what kind of behavior you're expecting. Otherwise, the relationship is not going to thrive. The relationship is not going to work out. And, you know, a lot of men are just tired from disappointment. It's not even that a lot of men that do understand the nature of women, that they're upset by it or that they're intimidated by it. It's that they simply are just tired of being disappointed. And I've seen young men, 18, 19 years old, in my own community, tell me that they have no idea if they're ever going to get married or if they're ever going to have a family. And it's like, that is insane. And it's just wild, because I knew that in my early 20s and mid 20s, but when I was 18, 19, I was still in la la land thinking that I could have a family. And now I still would like to have a family. I'd still like to have a woman that I could build something with and create a legacy with. But I completely understand where a lot of these men are coming from. That the moment that you seem to give a woman genuine love and care, it's like she herself doesn't know what to do with it. And sometimes these kinds of women, and this isn't all women, of course, but a lot of these kinds of women, deep down, they feel like they're unworthy. And it's because of their relationships, either in their past or with their family. I have yet to see a woman that has a healthy relationship with her father and she has unhealthy relationships with the men that is around her. I've yet to see that. But women that do not like their father or were raised by single parents, I see that it's more possible for this woman to experience these negative connotations and concepts toward a lot of the men. And likewise with the men as well, with women. If they have a not so good relationship with their mom, it's going to show in their own relationships. And in my past, for myself included, I didn't necessarily have the best relationship with my mom. And, we're actually, in a lot of ways, there's a lot of certain family members now that I'm not even speaking to because a lot of the times blood doesn't always determine family. And a lot of the times the people that want to show you love are only going to be showing you love when it's convenient for them. And in some cases, that's what happened with me. And, when you're down, when you're out, there are probably going to be people that you thought were close to you. Turns out they just wanted a ride. They just wanted a free ride with you while you had the stuff going on. And when you don't, they'll sit back and relax. But when you're going through hard times, maybe when you've been knocked down and you got to get up on your feet again, they're not going to be there to help you up. And a lot of these women out here are like that. I mean, have you ever seen a woman in charge? I swear, like in the workplace, I've seen some of the most brutal and, dare I say, legitimately malevolent acts from women in power and what power does to women. I've even seen where women themselves that are in the power in the hierarchy of like a corporate world or whatever, it's like they don't even want that power anymore. Some of them don't even want that power because it's too much stress for them. And then other times you see the women and they don't want to let the power go. And so anybody that poses as a possible threat, specifically the women in the workplace, it's like they will compliment this woman and they will show their good face, and then all of a sudden a week later and this person's no longer there. It's like, oh, well, what happened to, I'm not going to say names, but let's say Rachel. What happened to Rachel? Oh, yeah, she's gone. Why? Rachel was doing really well. She was doing this and that. Like, that doesn't make sense. Well, it does make sense when you realize that the woman in power doesn't want other people to, quote unquote, like outshine her. And this is actually one of the rules in the laws of power, right? Is to never outshine the master. And that's an important rule to understand. But I think in the workplace specifically, you can see how women, once they get into a certain position and they feel they may not be better than you, but they feel like they're better than you because of the hierarchy, it's a wrap. Like, they don't care. They can be very much ruthless. And as a man in today's world, let's say you do want that family, you do want to provide and protect and to really create something meaningful. A lot of these women are just simply not even worth it, man. Like, and I'm not trying to say this to be rude or anything. I'm just saying that it's the truth because I'm a man that has seen both sides of these women. I've seen women when I was at my lowest, when I was fat and lazy and undisciplined and unambitious and not devoted to something higher. I was not following Jesus at that point. I've seen what women are capable of, and it's like you can be invisible as a man. Like, women think that not going on a date for a few weeks or something can be kind of lonely. It's like, you have no clue. You have no clue. And how would they? How would they know what it's like when they have all of these men that are always telling them, and the women that are complimenting them all the time, even if they're not the shit, they still think that they're the shit, when deep down they know that they're not the shit. And that's why they can be scared if a good guy like yourself who's watching this actually has a backbone, wants to give genuine love and care, but you're not going to be pussy whipped or anything like that. You're going to be somebody that actually wants to provide an experience for the woman. You want to be her portal for the universe. And a lot of women don't know what that's like because we've just been raised in a society to, number one, spiritually castrate males. And number two, we've been raised in a society that puts women on a pedestal simply because they are women. Meanwhile, you also at the same time have all of the victimhood going to women. And I'm not saying men are victims here, because any real man knows that he's not a victim and that he can adapt as he needs to. But it is really something to see someone proclaim all the victimhood and none of the responsibility in the same breath. It's really something to watch. And so what do you do as a man in this day and age? Sometimes the best thing that you can do is simply walk away. And it hurts sometimes. Like there's been women, even recently, where I've had to walk away. I did not want to. I really did not want to. And it actually hurt me to see that she was hurting because I had to walk away because she displayed behavior that wasn't okay with me. And I made that very clear. I set my boundary and I said, this is not something I'm interested in. And I didn't want to leave, but I have to maintain my self-respect. And I'm somebody that feels what other people, like I can feel how I make other people feel. I can feel that. And so I knew that in that moment of walking away, I could feel that I was hurting this woman. And, you know, it's like, I didn't want to be the lesson. I didn't want to be your lesson, but you left me no choice. And I have to maintain my self-respect and I have to maintain my boundaries and my standards. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do in this life. I'm not going to be an asset to my own life. And you're showing that you're more of a liability potentially than an asset. And I just simply cannot afford that. So we've got to be able to have these kinds of understandings and, you know, not to wish ill on these women, but hope to God that they can be saved through Jesus Christ, because that's going to be the only way that some of these women are going to be able to come to the light. Like, as a man that is refined, it's good for you to have a great understanding of the darkness. It is good and really powerful for you to know your own darkness, because then you can lead the woman that you're with out of the darkness as well. You can lead her to the light. But if she's too much in the dark, my brother, it's better to be walking away from that situation altogether. Anyways, I hope this message was useful and insightful. And until next time, peace be with you.